So who are we? We are a club that is part of a group of 33,000 clubs dotted in more than 200 countries worldwide. Who are our members? Our members are ordinary men and women, professionals, leaders who are part of a worldwide group of 1.2 million people. What do? We volunteer our time and employ our talents to serve our communities. So who are we? We are the Rotary Club of Harare CBD.
Rotary's service above self is a commitment to the community and fellowshipping. As I think the founding father of Rotary, Paul Harris, emphasized that the first thing was fellowship. When he got into Chicago, he was lonely, so he wanted people to fellowship. And it was followed now by projects, which is the service to the community.
Rotary is an international organization that is there to try and look to the needs of the people in your immediate environment and in your country.
Consisting of professional people or business people whose main interests are serving the communities that they live in.
Rotary is an acknowledgement of the fact that we are not as fortunate, all of us. There are some who are less fortunate, there are some who are well endowed, and there are some who need help. And for me, the idea of uplifting people who are less fortunate, who are underprivileged, who may not even acquire the basic necessities of life, is what Rotary is.
Chartered barely 3 years ago, and under the capable leadership of our President, Abi Mujay, immediate past President, Joe Cosma, and past President, Albert Nduna, together with a team of selfless, dedicated, and hard-serving Rotarians, the Rotary Club of Harare CBD has made it its business to serve its community and those in need throughout the world. Our members personify this humanitarian spirit, are motivated, and live by the motto, service above self.
For me, really, Rotary is an organization that gives you an opportunity to serve your community, an opportunity to give back to society what society has given to you.
I've always loved working with the people, helping those who are in need.
I joined Rotary because I wanted to make a difference with the youngsters, which I'm always in contact with.
The international object of Rotary, which we have localized, is to encourage and foster the ideal of service as a basis of worthy enterprise, and, in particular, to encourage and foster the development of acquaintance as an opportunity for service.
The Rotarians that I came into contact with were friendly people, genuinely interested in promoting the welfare of the people in their various communities through their various professions. And in so doing, getting together with people or like-minded people who shared the same visions and objectives and enjoying their company, as well as making lots of new friends with common interests.
You want to network with like-minded individuals, you've got that opportunity in Rotary.
Secondly, high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society.
Rotary affords you an opportunity to use your vocation for service to the less privileged.
Thirdly, the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life.
Part of it is the outreach that we got from our group CEO. I had heard about Rotary. I had attended some meetings, but no one had talked to me as powerfully as it did, to the extent that I just decided at that point that I had to join.
I know it might sound like a cliche, but there's more joy in giving than in receiving. So it is quite easy for me to apply the guiding principle for every Rotarian, which is service above self. In my serving others, I get more gratification than in doing things for me. So the guiding principle for every Rotarian naturally applies to every aspect of my life, be it professional, personal, or even in my community as a whole.
My linkages with the community has made me aware of the dire need some of the people in our community are in terms of wanting to be assisted on the various issues that worry them and that are part of their needs which they are not able to satisfy on their own.
And lastly, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service.
Rotary is one big family. It's an international club.
With 33,000 clubs.
That's 1.2 million people all over the world.
Who have lots of fun in doing good.
We are making a huge difference the world over.
The clubs are doing extraordinary project for service for orphanages and HIV people, and the education library and the development community.
In fulfilling these 4 great objects, we have a 4-way test developed by our fellow Rotarian Herbert J. Taylor in 1932. The test is still as valid as it is old. Now let's quickly take the test. Have you ever thought about it? Because we as Harare CBD Rotarians, of the things we think, say or do, we always test if.
Test, is it the truth?
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 If it's true,
Is it fair to everyone concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
good that it's true and fair, but
will it build goodwill and better friendship?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Does it build goodwill and friendship?
And lastly,
is it beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Is it beneficial to people who are dealing with you?
Is it beneficial to all concerned?
Is it beneficial to all concerned?
I trust you'll find these 4 tests rewarding in all facets of your life.
This is our Bible, the way we live as Rotarians.
It's a guiding principle, not necessarily in Rotary. It's something that you can measure yourself even in your personal life, corporate life, even in your daily dealings with people.
The principles guiding, or that should guide, the lives of all committed Rotarians.
Rotary Club of Harare CBD is part of Rotary International through its affiliation to Rotary District 9210, which encompasses Zimbabwe, Zambia, Mozambique North, and Malawi. Rotary International's theme for the year is Reach Within to Embrace Humanity. With its ultimate goal of becoming the club of choice in Harare, the Rotary Club of Harare CBD has set itself strategic 3-year goals, which are 1. To complete a community project every year that is needs driven. 2. To charter 2 Rotary clubs and 2 Interact clubs. 3. To complete 1 global project. And 4. To maintain fellowship programs at least 4 times a year.
The strength of the club is to do with the kind of projects and service.
Harare CBD Rotary Club is a vibrant young club that has got very committed individuals.
The Rotary Club of Harare CBD is a young club, and it is mixed of the young and the old, and all working together in the spirit of Rotary, of fellowshipping. I think we are, as a club, we have done more than our fair share.
The Rotary Club of Harare CBD operates through 6 strategic committees, which are Foundation and International, Service Projects, Membership, Public Relations, Club Administration, and New Generations. Let us take a look at each of these committees and see how we have given our members an avenue of service and how we are every day getting closer to the objective of meeting our goals. So let's start off with Foundation and International. Rotary clubs do not exist in isolation to each other, and it is through twinning and maintaining relationships with sister clubs that local clubs can have a global reach. So what is the purpose of this committee and how does it fit in the big picture?
The Rotary Foundation is the main arm through which Rotary International raises its fund for all its programs. So we're talking about the eradication of polio, other humanitarian programs. You've got the educational programs, the scholarships that the Rotary International provides. We've got groups, study exchange programs. All those are funded via funds raised through the Rotary Foundation. A matching grant is where you've got a club with funds overseas, okay, or anywhere for that matter, and they do not have worthy projects to support within their area. And then you've got another club in another certain area in the world which can identify a need but do not have the necessary funds. Yeah. So these clubs can be matched via a formal system within Rotary to actually make sure that the funds come through to the areas where they are needed. In fact, right now we are working on a project with Nyadiri, the Belazia project that I was talking about. The Dr. Chiani is working on compiling all the necessary information so that we can initiate the application of the matching grant with any other winning club the world over. Scholarships, we continue to invite for applications. Right now we're working with one of our Rotary clubs, that's the Chinoi University, as well as, they're really open to anyone, even outside the Rotary family. Anyone can come forward and apply for the scholarships.
Then there's service projects. For one to be able to serve a need, they need to identify it. Let's tune in to the chairman of the committee and find out how they are spearheading the club to service over self.
As we say in Rotary, it's service before self, as a motto. I think it is always more pleasing to serve other people than it is to look at your own immediate needs. One of the areas really that has touched my heart is the plight that orphans in our country are facing. And the people that have come up with orphanages where these children are looked after, really, as much as they have the good idea of looking after the children, they don't have the means. And I see the Rotary Club of Harare CBD as an opportunity to serve these people in various ways, be it provision of foodstuffs or anything that they may be wanting or desiring in their various homes. A case in particular is where, we visited Ambuya Nehanda Children's Home in Bromley and discovered that some of the children there had in fact gone into the home after they were raped, and some of them are HIV positive. And in fact, one of the children died at Parinyatwa Hospital coming from this home. But there is also the positive to it in that with the work that we have done, some of the children are growing so well, and that even at Westgate Children's Home, one of the children has graduated from there to go to university, and she's currently doing a degree in urban and regional planning. And I see that as a positive thing that we as Rotarians can play in our society.
Moving on to membership. One cannot put service above self if there are no selves. Hence, the membership department is faced with the enormous task of attracting and retaining members. But not to fear, the membership committee is here.
Membership committee is to build the club. The club has many tasks which it has to do, and you need more people to share the burden of Rotary. So you need new members to come in. What it does is to encourage people who have friends to say, talk with your friends, let them visit us, and see our other colleagues, and also see what we do, what are our programs, and hopefully some of those people will be members.
I think it's brilliant. I think they're doing a lot, and I think they're helping a lot in changing the world. Whether it's one city at a time, one person at a time. I think during the session or after the session that we had a chance to, just hear about the activities that they are doing. And I got I know they're doing work with children living with HIV. I know they're doing work with, I think it's St. Giles. Everywhere around the country, and they're not limiting themselves to their immediate vicinity. Wherever they're seeing needs, I can see they're attacking that need. And I just think that's applaudable. And the kind of people that are there, I've got some of my partners from work, some big guys who are saying we're dropping our titles on the floor and we're doing what we're bringing and giving back to society. And when you see your partner or your director at work going all out and saying, no, for now I'm not a partner, I'm just an individual who's giving their time and giving effort, whatever, just to help out the next person, that's humbling, and that was a humbling experience. And that is what has led me to just want to be part of Rotary.
Volunteerism in this country is something that we need to encourage in our children, in the people that we work with, the people that we live with, so that the work of Rotary can continue to blossom.
The membership committee, I can say, is the blood of the club. They look after new members, they look after members' welfare. Are they happy, the members? Because Rotary involves a lot of sacrifice, and you have to enjoy it, and you have to be involved to enjoy it. If all those aspects are not in a member, you begin to notice it. You need to have what they call fire chats. You talk with him, say what's going on, especially when it is the person who invited him. Is there anything, are you short of time these days, what is happening? Then from there, you keep the member enjoying, happy about Rotary.
As we move on to public relations, this is the club's mouthpiece in creating awareness and publicizing the work of Harare CBD Rotary.
The main objectives of PR is to create publicity. It creates awareness to the general public so that they might be interested in joining Rotary.
I was invited by the PR team to come and attend an economic session. I think it was I think the guest speaker was Professor Hawkins, and he was articulating on economic issues that were affecting the country at the time. That's how I got to find out about Rotary.
We can never underestimate the importance of highlighting the challenges in our community. While it is a known fact that we have a lot of challenges in the country that need our attention, seldom are they put to the forefront so that people can respond. And so part of our mandate as the PR committee is to highlight the needs that the club has identified, and in that way trigger a response from our members and from the general public alike.
So PR publicize our club's activities through the media,
such as our website, which serves as a resource to prospective members and the public and to the membership body itself.
Adverts through the press, local press, the TV. Any forthcoming events are also publicized through the PR.
Changing the world is no easy task, but we pride ourselves in one of the world's best administration. But just don't take it from me, hear it for yourselves.
The club administration for me is the hub, is the engine of proper functioning of any club. I would say it is the club administration committee has got two functions. One is administrative in nature, just like any other organization. On the coordinative function, which is the second function I was talking about, the coordination is to do with the various committees. You probably have about 5 committees within each club. And these committees have to be coordinated. There must be one center where the various activities of the various committees have to be coordinated. Planning and budgeting for the club. You also the coordination with other clubs within the district. And also communication and coordination with the Rotary International in terms of all these attendances, projects that we are doing, special events.
And lastly, new generations. We believe in catching them young. This is a committee that helps to foster a spirit of service in the young. Let's hear more about this committee.
The new generations it's a very important committee. It helps or it assists in churning out the future Rotarians. Interactors, you do it through Interact clubs, you do it through Rotaract clubs.
If we don't shall I say, groom youngsters to appreciate the culture of service above self, Rotary would die. That is the source of future Rotarians.
Remember the 4-way test that we've been talking about? It's very difficult to teach an old man and recite it, but for the young ones, they've got a lot of energy, they've got a lot of understanding. If they know it at a tender age, they will tend to keep it even in the next generation or in the older generation. And that can also help us produce more Rotarians.
We want them to grow into Rotary from an early age, appreciate that serving others is better than serving self. And that culture needs to be cultivated from an early age. And that is the future of Rotary. If we don't do that, Rotary will die.
The best way to predict the future is to invent it. But let's tune in and get insight from the president on what the future holds for the club.
Well, by the end of my term, I would want to see the club with at least one more Rotary club and one more Interact club affiliated to us. I would like all the club members to have gotten together for fellowshipping, probably a couple more weekends outside Harare, where we just enjoy ourselves with our friends and families.
Our club have got a life if the Rotarians have a fellowship. This is the basic for situation to start. And through fellowship is so easy to get the ideas for processing projects to the floor.
And finally, I'm hoping that by the time my term ends, we will have seen through a couple of projects like the maturity of the chickens we wish to donate to St. Joseph's. Would like to see the results coming out of members of the Interact clubs that we are promoting, their exam results, for instance, at the schools that we have donated books to. That I would like to see before the end of my term of office.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let's get on to the ground and assess how the club has fared. This year alone, we have not only done 1, not 2, not even 4, but more projects.
Community projects. We are saying they must be needs-driven.
Here's an insight into some of the projects we're currently undertaking. Our first project is with St. Giles Medical Rehabilitation Center.
St. Giles, as much as they try and campaign for funds, there is very little funding coming from government, there is very little funding coming from the donor community or from the corporate world. People just do not have money.
This is how we have met their needs.
So what we have done, we went to St. Giles and identified what their immediate needs were. Their ambulance had just had an accident and we went and repaired that. The state of their boarding department, their bathrooms and toilets were in shambles. So what we did again as Harare CBD, we chipped in money, we bought some paint and we went and painted 3 bathrooms and 3 toilets.
We also managed to provide a laptop to the medical school rehab center and donated books for their primary school. Going forward, our plan is to fulfill their wish list by providing walkers, braille machines, wheelchairs, and blood pressure machines. Rotary Club of Harare CBD is definitely being a light in the community, and the next project asserts this status. We are currently donating solar lanterns, all to communities that are not likely to get electricity, even in the next 10 years.
In our rural areas, there are pupils out there who do not have the options to study at night because there's no electricity and their parents do not or cannot afford any other forms of lighting for them to read after dark. So we thought that if we bought a solar lamp, which requires no maintenance, just a few hours out in the sun, that would enable, families with children waiting to write public exams have the extra few hours of study after dark at home at night.
And we identified an area called Ludzu in Rusike in Gormanzi and a place called Chikwaka off the Mrewa Road next to St. John's Chikwaka High School, where we were told by the local leadership that in the next 5 to 10 years they are not likely to have electricity. And we thought for us, those are the areas we should target. And so using renewable energy with these solar lamps, we think it will go a long way to provide lighting for those poor children. And we think that in the long run, it's supposed to effectively improve on their grades. And the old ladies who are at home can hardly read their Bibles if they want to do any Bible study at night. And we think that provision of this lamp, this tiny little lamp that can provide, some form of lighting for 8 to 12 hours without, use of paraffin or oils or anything. We thought that this was a brilliant idea, on how we could reach out to people in the remote areas of this country. And our wish is that, funds permitting, we would like to find and identify other rural areas where we could replicate this project.
In Bromley, we found ourselves at the Mbuyane Children's Home, which houses 108 children.
Knowing that we have orphanages around us, who in fact, although they exist, but they are so inadequately provided for in terms of the needs of the children.
We managed to raise $1,500, donated 30 blankets as well as groceries. And the club has put together a business plan to assist this home, to resuscitate some of its equipment, which includes boreholes and a bakery, as well as revive farming activities on its existing fertile piece of land. It should be noted that a significant number of children in this home are living with HIV. Then there's Westgate Haven Mayberain in Sentosa, a haven for girls, some orphaned, some abused. Here we donated toys and basic food commodities, and we realized how a simple donation can have such a profound effect on people.
We've seen there's talent in these orphans, but they need help here and there.
I actually looked at the young ladies and discovered that they've got talent, they're intelligent, but they're just abandoned, they're just orphaned. And then when we went there, it was not what we gave, but it was the time that we spent with them, the experience that I felt, and I realized I was advantaged.
We were driven by the needs at St. Joseph's Home for Boys in Belvedere, Harare.
They approached our club for assistance in various forms, and we visited them to assess what their needs could be. This is a charitable organization with no obvious sources of income, which assist orphaned boys from about age 10 to 18.
Here we're in the process of repairing their irrigation system and planning to resuscitate their mushroom project, all to ensure that they achieve self-sufficiency.
The club observed that while they've got the infrastructure, the maintenance has been poor because of the shortage of resources, and of course that the country has been going through or has gone through a very difficult economic period. So a lot of the infrastructure has run down due to lack of maintenance. And of particular interest, we noticed they've got what could be a very viable market gardening project. They've got the tanks, water tanks, they've got the boreholes, but the pipes are so old and they've not been maintained, they are leaking very badly. So we went in, made an assessment, and the requirement to make the pipe serviceable and stop the water leakages were not, didn't come up to a lot of money, and we thought we could assist in that regard. But in addition to that, we also observed that they have chicken houses, which we thought we could assist by providing some sort of seed capital to grow chickens, from day-old chicks to slaughter, which the capacity is not huge. So we thought, no, that would teach the boys to look after themselves, grow something, and then see it through successfully to a time when it can be harvested and consumed or marketed.
Let me take you to the northeast of Zimbabwe. This is Shelley Cripps in Murewa, a home to 88 children. We donated books and in partnership with the corporate, donated food, a generator, a television set, as well as hampers for the caregivers, people who we feel are often overlooked.
3/4 of the times, NGOs or Rotary clubs that visit children's homes or institutions where children are kept, they normally focus on children. You buy foodstuffs for the children, you buy needs that are directed at children, but the caregivers, who 3/4 of the time are never even put on a salary. We think this is a target group that we should also try to make sure they live as comfortably as possible. Many people have accused caregivers for taking stuff that is otherwise meant for the children, but I don't think there is any choice really. These people can't be feeding children and they go hungry themselves. And I'm thinking that on an as and when we can basis, we should target all the caregivers and kind of give them, a good time by way of Christmas hampers towards the end of the year or during the year if funds permit.
We observed that There is a small group of people in all these orphanages that we spoke about, that we are involved with. Bianihanda, Shelley Cripps, Westgate, St. Giles. There are people who have devoted their lives to looking after these orphaned kids. They, in a way, have become parents in loco. And we thought, no, they don't get too many thanks for that. The remuneration is poor, and it's a big sacrifice for them. So we thought, no, why not put a smile on them and say, we know what you're doing is valuable, it's very good. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Keep it up.
Having fulfilled our first objective with distinctive efficiency, let's move on to objective number 2, which is to charter 2 Rotary clubs and 2 Interact clubs.
We also work with high schools such as Mount Slinda, Wanachkore and them all. And in there, we create Interact clubs that are meant to teach leadership to you youngsters so that when you grow, you take over from us.
We have chartered the Rotary Club at Chinhoyi University of Technology.
It was a group of young men and women who were very passionate about their community, energetic, who wanted to make a difference in the university and also in the community in Chinhoyi, around the urban as well as the rural areas. But the most moving experience was when we first visited the family that we have adopted as the Rotaract Club. You find it's a family of an old lady looking after her own daughter and also 2 daughters which are not physically fit. I could say they've got Down syndrome, as the others are indicating. The lady doesn't have anyone to look up to. She has got children, but they have abandoned her. So when we went there, we made a difference. We didn't bring much, we didn't do much, we didn't bring quite a lot of things. But one thing that moved me was that lady cried and said, I never thought people would think about me. I never thought people will recognize that there's someone who is existing. And that was very moving to me.
The Interact clubs are St. Dominic's Chishawasha, Harare High School, and St. John's Chikwakwa.
The idea of having the Interact clubs, new generation as they're called, Interact clubs and Rotaract clubs, is so we know that when Sandra and Lincoln are gone, there are people who have an idea of service. What it means is that you can at least retain some people for the next 6 years. By the time we are through with them, you have people that are much more mature to become Rotarians.
The chartered Rotaract and Interact clubs have gone a long way in fulfilling our ideals with initiatives that include purchasing of ARVs to assist the elderly in their communities and assisting fellow students in raising school fees.
We adopted an old nuns' home, Sichest house, close to our school. We provide them with foodstuffs and moral support. We visit them weekly to talk to them and reassure them.
They've bought groceries for people. And what I'm saying for St. Dominic's goes also for St. John's. They've bought groceries for the villagers who have nothing, absolutely nothing. Harare High, I know for a fact, they've also fundraised to pay school fees for the unfortunate students who can't raise the money.
The youngsters, those are the people who will hold the torch going forward. And I think we need to encourage them.
It is important to note that we'll be chartering Chinhoyi High School Interact Club very soon. We have arranged educational visits, touring major corporations that include beverage giant Delta and dairy products group Dairy Board, together with students from our Interact clubs as well as children from our projects. We took them for a learning experience that all of us described as priceless. Career guidance remains key in maintaining fellowship, and we have been conducting career guidance workshops at Africa University for the past 2 years.
And it has become an annual event where students get advice from experienced professionals and business people on what careers they may follow. Because believe it or not, when most of our students go to university, they don't even know what is out there or what they can do with their degrees or on completion. And it is actually quite an eye-opener when they see the various options that may be open to them. Because we believe that going to university and obtaining a degree is simply a measure of a person's ability to learn and be trained, so that degrees should be really a step towards anything that one wants to do.
Feedback from students has been overwhelming, as many have considered this exercise a life-changing one, and it has guided them to make the most important career decisions of their lives. We will also continue to donate books to schools and continue to do yearly evaluations to assess whether donated material has been useful and what areas may need to be improved.
Say a simple donation of books to a school that would probably have just a few books to share amongst the whole class, and you deliver 15 more books. It's the reaction, the happiness and the pleasure that the people derive from, and the gratitude that you see in the recipients' faces, that is really genuinely shall I say, touching and gratifying.
We donated a good number of books, courtesy of Book Aids International, which I believe will go a long way in improving the education of the students.
Mabhuku aya tinawana kubva ku Book Aid International or any other friends vanotipa mabhuku. So kana tichinge tasiya mabhuku saizvozvi, we expect that after 12 months there will be a follow-up. Tine fungidziro yekuti you have all had the opportunity kunzwa kuti vana vanoti mabhuku aya ari beneficial here and asiri beneficial ndapi, avangada kuramba vachipiwa ndapi kana tikwanisa kuita source other books.
The trip to Chipinge was a book donation trip by the Harare CBD Rotary Club, and that was my very first experience of how the Rotary Club operates. I went there at the invitation of the Harare CBD Rotarians, and the venue was Mount Linda High School, where we were to witness the donation to a number of schools. There was a huge response from the community. Chief Mapungwana was also there to grace the occasion, and most importantly, the children, the high school students themselves.
Though we are guided by our strategic plan, we are not limited by it. And whenever we see a need that we can meet, we address it. We are the only club in Harare to have sent students to the Rotary Youth Leadership Academy meeting in Polokwane, South Africa. Some amazing work indeed. And to describe it all in 3 words, service over self. If you've always wanted to change the world and have always been willing to put yourself up for service, here's an organization that puts service over self.
I think Rotary is about activities, it's about projects, it's about going out. That's the excitement. The activities we have lined up must be such that people are drawn to joining the club and to enjoying the club more than another club. So I think the club of choice comes with the choice of activities, projects, and outreaches that we have to do. I think the relevance and necessity of the outreach programs would make it a club of choice as far as I'm concerned.
And so we are quite excited that this new vibrant club has become very well known for the work that it does in and around Harare and even further afield. We are generally perceived to be very, very good at fellowshipping, and in so doing, we find that many clubs are actually emulating what we do.
The difficult circumstances are really what drive Rotary, because of the need to give the needy, the ability to make a difference. You're going to impact someone's life in a positive manner. If the challenging environment didn't exist, then surely Rotary would really lose relevance.
We need more members. I think as a club we need more members. I believe in that we need quality members, of course, but we need numbers too. And we can get quality out of the numbers. I think let's drive for the members, for the numbers. And from there we build each other and become quality Rotarians.
I'm so happy to the last visit. That's why I'm coming again, because Harare CBD is outstanding. The club is in very good condition, even the membership. But we need to improve because we need to be ambitious. So let's do and make more and more for future to our community, be happy, also our Rotarians.
Rotary Club, batira, kusimutira chikoro chedu kubatana. Isimba kubatana, Isimba, Isimba, Isimba kubatana, Isimba. Simba kubatana, Simba.